What is up, my fellow gamers out there? I think we can both agree that Harvest Moon on the SNES is a very important piece of gaming history. Because without this game, we wouldn't have modern games like the modern whole franchise wouldn't exist, and I think we wouldn't have Rune Factory or even Animal Crossing games, and not even Stardew Valley. So I was very curious how was the very first Harvest Moon game, which has been released exactly 30 years ago as the time of making this video. Exactly, it has been released in 1996 on the SNES. So I decided to fire up the game to see how it holds up, or even if it holds up. And to be honest, I expected some clunkiness, some glitches, some bugs, because yes, this game is old, and this was basically just Natsume's first try in the genre. So, but I still tried to maintain a neutral mindset to really see what this game can offer. Well, it can offer a lot, and I think my blood pressure it was like a roller coaster. It felt like this, and no, the game is not bad. It's the controls are fine, and basically all the game mechanism is there, and it's what I expected is like bugs and bad controls and just clunkiness. No, it's not there. It plays absolutely fine, and the 16-bit graphics is absolutely fine, and it's really enjoyable. However, if I would like to describe you guys my experience with the game, it went like the seasons itself. Spring started quite nice. I started to plant my crops, and I noticed a few bugs, not the bugs, just a few things in the game mechanism which was a bit annoying. But I was like, okay, that's fine, let's continue. Well, summer came, and by summer I was very frustrated. But the time management was really bad in the game, and I was extremely frustrated. And autumn came, and by autumn I managed to softlock my progress. Yes, I managed to softlock my progress in a farming game. And I remember I was sitting there with my controller, and I was like, I'm not going to spoil everything at the beginning of the video. I'm going to explain everything, but I had to tell you that by winter everything was dead. My farm, the crops, and even my enthusiasm to continue playing the game, because it was so frustrating that I said, that's it, I'm not going to continue anymore. And now I think you're probably thinking that like, oh, because the game is bad. No, the game is not bad. It's not broken, it's absolutely playable, and it have everything what you want from a farming simulator. Okay, it's on a much more basic level, but it's there and it's working. But okay, without any further delay, let's jump in, let's start the video, and I'm going to tell you everything why I had a difficult time with Harvest Moon on the SNES. Let's get started. Harvest Moon has been released in 1996 on the Super Nintendo, developed by Amccus and published by Natsume. I hope I pronounced this right. Anyway, at that time this game was something completely different. There were no combat, no enemies, just farming, time management and talking to people. This was a very brave concept to release this, as no one else released any kind of games like this before. But why the existence of this game is important, because basically it created a whole genre. Without it, we probably wouldn't have games like Stardew Valley, Rune Factory or even Animal Crossing. So, before I say anything else, I had to say that I respect this game. I have to say that this is the shortest Harvest Moon intro I ever seen. Well, the game starts very dramatically. Your mother is crying, your father is comforting her, and then that's it. No explanation, no setup, you're just a kid, now living on a farm. If you played any later Harvest Moon game, you probably know what's happening. Your grandpa died, and you inherited the farm. But here, this is not really communicated. Only some dialogue when you are talking to the town people. And even starting the game properly isn't immediate, because you actually have to go around the town and talk to everyone. This is okay, it's just slightly annoying that if you miss even one person, you cannot go back to your farm and start your farming until you've really spoken to everyone. But once the introductions are done, we can start to check out our farm and start our journey. When I started to play, things started out positive, as the controls were smooth. I even enjoyed that if you keep pressing the B button, your character runs toward the direction where he's facing, so I don't have to press the D-pad constantly. I don't know if I'm that lazy or what, but I found this is a cool feature. Well, as I wandered around on my farm, I noted that the farm is huge. I already have complete buildings to raise livestock, a nice shed for my tools, and a storage shed for collecting materials to expand my house. And the farmland itself is massive as well. When I first took a stroll around, I realized that I could plant tons of crops here. But of course I had to clean it up first, as it was full with weeds, trunks and stones. So I started my farming journey, tilled a small patch of land east of my farm, and later I realized that this was a mistake. But at that time I found this place to be a good start. So I planted the seeds, watered them, and while I was waiting for the harvest, I started to clean up my farm, explore the town, talk to everyone, and check out the shops. So the days went by and I started to enjoy the game, but once the first harvest came, I started to realize that something is off. I had to carry every crop to the shipping bin one by one. As you can only keep 2 tools with you at a time and nothing else, you have to carry your crops to the shipping bin by hand. This was okay-ish until I had like 6 or 12 crops, but it took way too much time and it was very boring to go back and forth all the time. So, of course I started to look around for my basket to make things easier. I couldn't find it on my farm, so I went to the local farm equipment shop to buy one. They are not selling it either. That is weird. Well, summer came, I started to get frustrated as the number of my crops went way up and the whole day was not enough to harvest everything, carry it to the shipping bin and even water my crops. One especially frustrating thing is if you drop crops into the shipping bin after the guy took your daily shipment, you're gonna waste those newly placed crops as they will rot. We can say that this is realistic, but the problem is that as we do not have enough time to carry everything by the shipping time. The slightly good news is that sometimes in the first autumn you receive a horse and once it grows you can use it as a mobile shipping container, but I couldn't wait until then as my frustration was very high, as by autumn I, let's say, softlocked myself in the game. Watering is a quite chill and relaxing task to do in most farming games, but not in the first harvest moon. Let me correct myself. Until you can buy the sprinkler on the 20th day of summer, watering is a tedious task. As I mentioned, you have to manage your time to harvest and go back and forth to the shipping bin. If you manage to ship everything, it is nearly evening and you still have to water your crops. Luckily, there are small ponds in a lot of places in your farm, so you don't have to walk a lot, but the task itself is still frustrating as I run out of stamina most of the time and I haven't finished the watering, so those crops left dry overnight. But once you unlock the sprinkler, it will be much easier as you don't have to refill it, it waters a large area, so watering will be much easier. Actually, unlocking this tool was funny, as at the first day of the summer, the tool shop owner came to my farm and told me that he's working on something. I was excited to finally I could have a basket and I can enjoy my farming, so I went to his shop excitedly and there was still no basket, but the sprinkler. Well, at least this is something. I noticed a few weird design choices in the game. You can plant seeds or in a 3x3 grid, which is cool. We've seen this in later farming games, so no problems. Until the crops will grow. Because then you realize that you can't water the middle tile or harvest the crop from there. You just stand there looking at it, knowing it's going to die, and there is absolutely nothing you can do. I was really like, the fuck? What was the point here? Or maybe, perhaps later, there is a tool for this to harvest the middle crop? I don't know. What was also strange, that is no in-game clock. You don't really know what's the time, you just guess the time based on vibes. You can get a clock if you expand your house by the first summer, but I think this is very difficult as you need to expand your house, which costs 5000 gold and some lumber. But you only realize the cost once the expansion guy shows up and tells you that, oh, it is nice that you collected the indicated number of resources for the expansion, which was written on the sign at your farm, but you don't have the funds. Bad luck. My question is here, why the money isn't stated as requirement on the expansion requirements sign? It would be illogical, isn't it, as I wouldn't rush to collect wood to expand my house and waste my precious time to just realize that I'm fucked because I had no money for the expansion. You could ask why I was rushing to expand my house at the very beginning of the game. Well, the guy said that I will get a unique item as a bonus if I expand my house before summer. As it turned out, that would be the clock. So, no clock for me. But I let it go as I had more problems by this time. What I enjoyed in this game is that the world itself is quiet. people don't constantly interrupt you, coming to your farm to just chat with you or giving you random items. Well, the basket would be nice. So this is actually kind of nice. I enjoyed it that I could live my life on my farm, do my chores and interact with people when I want. But to be fair, I wouldn't have time for some chit chat because I haven't had time for anything on my farm because the time events is just too quick. And also, there's a little exploration in the game, as you can explore the mountains between your farm and the town. You can relax in a hot spring where you can regain your stamina, and you can meet random people from the town there. And I think once I met an ape there as well. Yeah, an ape. So, as I was getting comfortable with the game, I was busy with my farming, raised quite nice amount of money, shipped the crops, enjoyed the easier watering with the sprinkler, and I felt that the game is getting a bit easier as I got used to the mechanics. And then autumn came. My whole farm looked like a town from the first Fallout game. It was quite depressing actually. I shipped my last crops from summer and now I was there planning how I will spend my autumn. This was when I realized that I soft-locked myself for the 2 whole in-game seasons. You cannot buy any kind of seed in autumn, nothing. Everything is available to buy and plant in spring and summer. Okay, so I'm gonna buy livestock then, raise them and make money from that in autumn and winter. Sounds okay. So I went to the shop and despite I had the money, they wouldn't sell livestock for me as I don't have enough grass. Say what? So I supposed to plant, harvest and stock grass throughout spring and summer to be able to buy livestock. Then what the fuck I gonna do now? I am soft-locked by farming. And yeah, I not even thought about how to harvest grass as I was busy with everything else and I thought I could buy food for the animals at the shops, which yes, I could, but just once, and that's still not enough to buy a chicken or a cow. I was sitting there staring at the screen and saying out loud, what the fuck? And finally winter came. My farm was dead, just as my enthusiasm. No crops, no real activities. Earlier I found a calf and I gave it a name. And I realized that I cannot really do anything with it until it grows up. So I just walked around the farm one last time, looked at the mountains and went to bed. And honestly guys, that felt like a good place to stop. It was the most depressing end for a farming adventure that I ever played. Okay, it was not the end I chosen to be, this would be the end. And yes, of course, I could skip the days until spring and start all over, but honestly, I did not want to. The game did not offer that much value that I wanted to continue playing it, and I think I experienced it as far as I was interested, so I had decided to stop playing it then. Well, the big question is if you should play Harvest Moon on the SNES or not. I think you now, after you watch the video, you think that I'm going to say no, but I'm not going to say no. I'm going to leave this choice up to you because the game, I wouldn't call the game bad or broken because it's not. Everything is there. The festival, the farming, you can keep livestock. Okay, I couldn't try that as I for the reasons what I mentioned in the video, but basically everything is there. And if you would like to see where this whole franchise started, it's worth seeing just to play a season, and maybe now that you've seen like basically what I was struggling with, you are going to be well prepared. And the thing is that this was my main problem, that for a farming game, I don't think so that I should check some strategy guide or some tips before playing it. It should be a straightforward experience. And this is where my problem comes, that I'm sure that the developers have tested this game. But when they tested it, they should notice that alright, these things which I mentioned are a bit like going to ruin the gameplay experience, or they maybe not realized because they thought like, okay, this is part of the farm, that I don't know. But yeah, it's the game. So let's say one more time that I really respect this game, and I wouldn't call it bad. It's just different because it's made a long time ago. But at the same time, if you can see the evolution. If you play this and you're going to play the latest. Okay, but now it's very difficult because there is 2 branches. There is a Harvest Moon and the Story of Season branches. But if you check where farming games went from making this game, you can see a really nice progress. So yes, if you feel, give it a try if you like 16-bit stuff, because the game is playable. It's alright, it's just a very different experience. And if you played it, or you plan to play it, or if you had any kind of experience with it, let me know in the comments below. And I thank you for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. I'm going to see you in the next Backlog Quest video. Bye bye.